All right, we're going to talk about long chain anterior cross references and long chain posterior cross references of the body to address certain accessory movements to build strength in areas such as the glute for external rotation and the adductor for hip and knee stability when it references or comes to the squat. So we already know that if we're in a split stance position on either a split squat or a Bulgarian, if we're not working range of motion, that isn't really being super efficient to transitioning to our squat while we are in the hole. Okay, the same way or the same thing is present in these movements when if someone's having an issue of valgus knee and we are like, hey, you need to externally rotate more, if we are only using short chain activation movements such as a Bulgarian split squat with the dumbbell in the opposite hand, which is contralateral, right? The dumbbell, we are actively contracting that glute because the dumbbell is pulling us this way, we are actively opening up. That's only getting to here. We know that our posterior chain is connected. So typically in a activation of the posterior chain, it's gonna go hamstring, glute, opposite side of the back. So why not use that long chain to help activate that glute, to help stabilize the hip and cause external rotation? A really good way to do that in a split stance position is to have abduction or away pressing of the arm to activate that posterior chain, which is then going to go down and allow us to isolate and activate that glute, which is also going to help with external rotation. We can easily do this with a band attached to something with an isometric hold on the opposite side of the leg that you're trying to hit. So if you're worried about valgus knee and you need glute activation on one side of your body, that foot is going to be forward and the opposing arm is going to be pulling outward. It's going to look like this. You are going to isometrically hold and pull out, which is going to activate that posterior chain. And now you can go into your split squat in that stance, and this activation is going to allow us to get more feedback and isolation out of this glute. This is where having intent with your accessory movements comes into play, because a lot of people can sit here in a contralateral stance with the weight in the opposing hand, and you can go here all day long and not be activating this glute, because although the weight is trying to pull us to one side, that doesn't mean you're actually using the chain properly to stabilize. You can do this all day long and then you get under a bar and this is gonna break down, and when your trunk breaks down, you're gonna go into valgus knee. So using the long chain on the posterior side to help in your accessories is going to allow you to use the posterior of your trunk, which is gonna help activate this. The same thing is gonna apply on the front side. If you have valgus knee or hip issues because you have weak adductors and or my scenario, a partially torn meniscus, you need a very strong adductor. My adductors are weaker, but they are also very tight, and I have an actual damaged meniscus. So if I am in a split stance, yes, I can do an ipsilateral split squat with the weight here, but if I am not actively using my trunk to challenge and help this adductor contract, once I put a bar on my back and this is now being stabilized and I haven't trained this long chain, I'm missing it, right? We have to allow the accessories to play into our main movements. So isometric with a band, same concept occurs or happens, but instead of abduction away from the body, we can pull in, which is then gonna be the long anterior chain, which is gonna connect. So abduction or adduction pulling in, which is gonna help activate this long chain, which is gonna directly help isolate and contract that adductor more while we are going through the movement. I flip sides, I have the tension in the band, I have the isometric contraction, and now I can isolate and really feel that adductor a little bit more. Save it, like it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments or send me a message.